Hey, B45 family. Welcome to episode 5 of the B45 podcast, where we're determined to stay healthy, get fitter, and live life to the absolute fullest. At B45, we believe in building our health and fitness like a castle, one brick at a time. We're not about fast fitness here, so just so you know. My name is Monahin, and I'm your host. If you're new here, I hope you'll enjoy the content and find it helpful. I would ask that you consider becoming a subscriber to ensure that you get new episodes when they're released. And if you are a returning listener, I really appreciate your support. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming back. Some of you reach out on social media. Appreciate all the messages. So thank you very much. Now, in episode 4, we talked about all-round fitness and talked about just a few points on how you can achieve all-round fitness. And, some of them are very obvious, just simple points. If you haven't listened to it, you can go back and listen to that episode 4. Now, today's episode 5, is a little bit different. So I've got a friend of mine with me who we're going to talk together in this episode. His name is Gary Tinkler. Gary is someone that I've known for a number of years now. He actually lives very close to me, literally 2 or 3 houses away. I met Gary when my son was looking for a football club, and Gary happened to be the coach of the football club, and is actually the chairman of the football club as well. So Gary wears a lot of hats. He's a good friend, a neighbor, and Gary, I'll let you introduce yourself and to the listeners. Introduce yourself and what you're about.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Hi guys. I'm Gary Tinkler. I'm a father, a husband, VP of Sales Marketing, a coach, as AO mentioned, and also a good friend of AO. So, I'm looking forward to talking through on today's podcast.
Oh, thank you, Gary. And what I also need to mention is that Gary is over 40, so he's certainly someone who's qualified to be talking on the B45 show. So, and similar, Gary and I are actually similar ages. We're about the same age, actually just a little over 40. We still got a whole lot, of life ahead of us, and we're trying to make sure that we make the right choices now to ensure that we can enjoy the life ahead of us. So Gary, do you just want to kind of talk us through about your journey, your background, what you've done and what you do right now, and then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely, mate. No, I appreciate it. So, I'm again Gary Tinkler, 42 years old. I'm originally from a place in the UK called Stafford, the county town of Staffordshire. Moved down to Milton Keynes, which is where obviously AO and myself are now based, about 12 years ago now. Seems like an eternity, but made the decision when my work dried up in Staffordshire back in 2008. So moved down around late 2008. I work in the data center market, which is great. Love it. I've been doing that since around I was 1997 when I left school. Been in it a significant amount of time. Work for a local company up in Bedford called USystems, and we work on the CodeLogic brand, which is the dedicated cooling side of a data center. It's really interesting, and I have a lot of friends within the industry that I get to work with, and work on specific projects for hyperscale customers, as well as some really interesting end users, which is fantastic. I've got 2 young children, one of 12 and one of nearly 14, which really do keep me on my toes. Obviously, I'm happily married to my wife Sarah. Obviously, you know her. Mm-hmm. yeah, that's me in a whistle stop. But I'm a coach, as you mentioned. I've always been an avid fan of football from a very early age. I'm an Everton supporter, which don't hold that against me. But yeah, I'm a coach and the chairman of a football club here in Milton Keynes. I've been doing that since my son was 6 years old. So 6 years now, which is it's been great. You know, that's one of, as you say, the many hats that I wear, and many hats within the club. It's only till recently that I wasn't secretary, kit man, and everything else. I've managed to help build and pull two clubs together to form one now, which is great. Which has meant I've got a larger committee that can be of support, which is excellent. So I've actually relinquished a number of hats, which has been great. Just the chairman now, and obviously the coach of our son's football team, which is great. I'm sure we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. I'm also an ex-semi-professional myself. Played for a number of clubs at a semi-professional level over the years. Managed to play in the FA Cup, which has always been good. My fitness journey for 40 now is struggling a little bit. I think we touched on this, when we talked privately, AO, that it's been a struggle with, we're 40 years old. We're sort of in the prime of our working lives, let's call it, with the demands of everything that goes on there. Even getting to record this podcast this evening was a challenge, right?
It was.
Running around. I was about 25 minutes late. It's a challenge. And on top of that, trying to look after yourself, look after your children, keep your wife happy. It really is a struggle. And I'm one that really has struggled, being able to play football, to a fairly good standard. While eating anything I wanted, training twice a week for that club, playing on a Saturday, and then having a few beers on a Saturday night, and getting up on a Sunday morning and, playing for a local side as well, local pub team. That fitness, kept me going through, my obviously teens, my 20s into my early 30s, and then it sort of stopped there. Children came on board and things happened, and it sort of drifts away from you, which is quite difficult.
Yeah. Before we get to that point, I wanted to ask you, I just want to delve a little bit more into, what it was like for you when you were, semi-professional footballer. What was the kind of fitness, regime you had? What did you used to do then back in your teens, 20s, and 30s, when you were playing football as a semi-professional?
Sure. Okay, so I played. I'll start from the beginning, really, because obviously you get to understand, how it progressed and transpired. So back when I started playing, it was competitive football from the age of 7.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not like it is now, where it's non-competitive up to the age of under 12s. It was competitive straight away. Yeah, there's been a huge swing in the football side of things over many, many, many years. So when I first started, it was competitive from the age of 7, league tables, etc. And I joined a club called Stafford Falcons, and I was fortunate enough to play with a significant number of my school friends. Quite a lot of us were in the same team. So, we went to school together. We played football together. We met down the park after school, etc. Which you even don't see much of that nowadays either. Football was our lives. And we had a couple of other guys that were from different schools that had obviously joined the club. But, the lion's share of that team was from the same school and same area of the town of Stafford. And, we used to train only once a week back then, obviously, as a child, and then play play football at the weekend, which was great. You know, we had such a great team, and as we grew up, I ended up playing for them, Stafford Falcons, up until I was 18, under 18s we played.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I went all the way through with them from 7 to 18, which was excellent. But at the age of 16, I started playing semi-professional in the reserves. You know, so you get the odd game, you get called up to the first team. But I was in the reserves for a year or two, and then made it into the first team. And then, yeah, we were still training once, sometimes twice a week, depending on the availability or the games we had coming up, etc. Which was great. And the training was, you know, what you'd expect from, you know, 25 years ago. It was a lot of running back then, you know, not as much ball work as what you see nowadays. You do a lot of running with the ball, traditionally with today's sort of coaching methods. But back then there was a lot of running. You know, we played at an area called Wildwood, and it was a very large area. It had some significant hills in there, you know, multiple pitches. And, yeah, we did a lot of running and a lot of sprints, a lot of hill work. Really, you know, the fitness side of it, I was so fit back then, you know, playing at 16 years old when I'd gone from kids football to sort of a hybrid. I was doing kids and adult football. I say kids at 16, 17, 18. But I was playing men's football, as I mentioned, and you know, I was training with the kids on a Tuesday, training with the adults on a Thursday, playing Saturday afternoons for the men's team, and then Sundays for the kids team. It was demanding, don't get me wrong, but my fitness was phenomenal. You know, 8% body fat. It was, I was
whoa, hang on. Did you say 8% body fat?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm sure I've got the form somewhere from the gym that measured it. I'm sure it's about 8.2% body fat. I'm sure I've still got that somewhere. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask this. So when you met your wife, you were probably very, 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 very fit, right?
Yeah, I was in good shape, mate. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, yeah, go on, please.
Yeah, so the training was phenomenal, and like I say, I could eat anything, you know, and we'd go out on nights out and get blind drunk as well, and I'd still be up the next day to play football for the Sunday morning side, and that is your listeners are going. So he played Saturday afternoons. He said he played kids football. Yeah, I played Saturday afternoons for men. I played Sunday mornings for a pub team and Sunday afternoons for the under 16, 17s and 18s team.
Wow.
Yeah, so for 3 years, I was playing 3 full games of football a weekend and obviously training twice a week as well.
Wow, that's a lot of physical activity. It
was a lot of physical activity, that, you know, and the joints are feeling it now, I can certainly tell you. But yeah, I was in peak fitness, you know, really good shape. You know, I could run all day without question, no problem, and you know, finish and then go, right, when are we going again? And that was the sort of thing that we did when we were playing football. Was, you know, if you were fitter than the other team, you know, that was an extra. That was like having a goal. It was like having a goal in the game. It really did give you that extra bit and that extra zip, and it also helped with injuries, AO, to be honest. You know, when I started the fitness started to go as I got older. You know, I'd pick up more injuries because I was getting caught in challenges. You know, I wasn't as quick. You know, normally when I was really fit, I could skip away from challenges and you wouldn't get caught as much and things like that. But as I got older, you know, that fitness goes and, you know, the speed reduces slightly and you get, you know, that challenge that you got away from a year ago, the guy'd catch your ankle and before you knew it, your ankle was the size of your fist.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, you really did notice it, mate, to be honest. And it got to, I was in a bad way with my ankles. My ankles were probably the worst, apart from my nose, really, the way I played football. But they were the ones. I've had 7 operations across 2 ankles.
Oh, wow.
I've got a 6-inch scar on one, and 2-inch scars on the other, where I've had, multiple open surgeries on my ankles to try and sort them out. But yeah, it was a combination really of playing too much at a young age and getting caught when I wasn't fit enough at an older age. But yeah, it was demanded. But again, when I was really fit, I was really fit. And obviously, as you get older, I played down in Eastbourne, I played in Staffordshire, I played in Burnt-upon-Trent. I travelled everywhere. I got to see a lot of things. I mentioned I played in the FA Cup.
Yeah, that must have been fantastic. That must have been, the FA Cup is huge.
It was excellent. Yeah, it's excellent. It was the prelims. Quite a lot of semi-professional teams start out there, and we see, some of these guys get to the first round. Some even to the second round, which is excellent. The money that's generated for them clubs is great when they can get that far. And just getting to the first round can keep the club afloat for the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's really significant. So having the opportunity to play in them, I was fortunate that we played in the second or third preliminary round against Hensford Town. And there was a big guy called Kevin Francis who played. They used to call him the Bambi on ice, and he was 6'7". He played for Birmingham City. He played for Oxford City.
Oh, wow.
He'd been around. He was excellent. He really was, and we were winning actually 3-1. And yeah, he came on, and first thing he did, our keeper Planty was having a absolute worldie of a game. And the first thing he did was he had a corner and he just cleaned him out. He went up for a header. This guy cleaned him out. Ended up landing on him, and Planty got stretchered off. I think he did his cruciate. Yeah, it was clear he was just going to take him out. But back then that was the way of football. Don't get me wrong. By all means, Kevin Francis was not a dirty player.
It was just how football was played back then.
Yeah, absolutely. You got stuck in, and the keeper was having a worldie. You got to stick one on him a little bit. And yeah, he took hhim out, and he got stretchered off, and that was sort of the downfall then. And then before we knew it, we could get near, and they were just putting crosses in, and he was 6'7", so he could jump like 9-10 feet easy. And he put a couple of headers in the net, and we ended up losing 4-3, and that was us out. But we'd have made, I think, if we'd have gone through, we'd have had £25,000 in the club funds for getting through to the next round. Which back then, and we're talking a long time ago now, that was significant for the club.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't. I think we made 5,000 or 10,000 just to get where we got to, which was significant for the club back then. But, if we'd have got through that, if we'd have won that game, 25,000, 30,000 would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But no, I've had a good run. I've, played, as I say, down south. I played up north as well, which was good. But yeah, fitness-wise, we've got to 40 now. Geez, it's a struggle. It really is a struggle.
That's B45 is about, just we're trying to be real with fitness, because, fitness as we used to know it back in, 20s and 30s, unfortunately, not a lot of people cannot keep up with that pace of fitness that they had when they were much younger. I know I certainly cannot. So what's it like now when you, in terms of fitness, what do you try? What do you do? What helps you and what doesn't? So, from your perspective now as an over 40.
So I think the first thing for me is because I started at such a young age and like I say, was physically fit for a long time, training multiple times a week, the thing I struggle with the most is that mental side. It really is that mental side where I just think, can I really be bothered to get out and go for a 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 mile run now? Not a chance. I very much doubt I could even run a mile now. And it's that mental block. It's that mental block. So I've done it for so long. Do I really need to do it now? And that's part of my problem is that mental blockage of having done it for so long. Can I be bothered? Being frank and honest, and I know we've talked about it a number of times.
Yeah,
I just don't have the mental drive to do it. You know, there's peaks. You know, obviously we started, and you mentioned it in one of your other podcasts. You know, we started to try and get up at 5:30. You know, train at 6. We did it for a week, and then I just couldn't do it. I really couldn't. And as much as I absolutely want to do it, I just can't. And that for me is probably the biggest point that I struggle with at the moment, is that mental side. Eating, yeah, I've just been on. I've been doing a bit of a no carb diet, but I've been eating a little bit of carbs. So anything from 5 grams per 100 grams of carbs I can eat. Anything above 5 grams per 100, I try not to eat. Anything below, 5 or below, absolutely, I can eat it.
I mean, do you find? I mean, what have you found with with doing that? Does it, have you found that it helps you? Does it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I did it for like 3 weeks and lost just over a stone.
Oh wow!
Which was great, and I felt so much better for it. And to be fair, I was doing it probably 6 days a week, and on the 7th day, I'd have a cheat day, so I'd eat whatever I wanted, sort of reset the body a little bit, and then start again for another 6 days eating 5 grams per 100 or lower. And yeah, 3 weeks, a stone is significant, especially when you're 16.5 stone at the time. To get down to 15.5 was great. I am 6'1", so at that weight, it's quite well spread. I don't think I look too overweight.
No, you don't.
I know that I am, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to be back down to sort of 14.5 stone, but sometimes as you do that as well, you look too gaunt as well. I haven't got there yet, but if I can get it down a little bit, then that would be great. But that's the sort of diet I've been trying to work on, AO, to be honest. But one of my biggest problems also is chocolate. Because I could eat whatever I wanted, and chocolate is that's my arch nemesis. I've got to be honest. That's my kryptonite to Superman. So
I was going to ask, with the the changes you made to the diet, I mean, is it difficult to sustain that? Because it sounds to me like it's something that, with a little bit of, effort or a little bit of willpower, you can keep doing that, and it's not going to kind of break the bank, for example. I mean, how have you found, how easy or how difficult have you found doing that for 3 weeks? And, do you think it's something you can continue? Because I like to say, in B45, we talk about making little changes, realistic changes, nothing too drastic, but little changes that we can sustain over time. So I just wanted to know from your perspective, the one you tried, and, if you think it's something that you could do for a long time.
Do you know what? Yes and no. I know that's really a cop-out, so apologies for that. But like I say, I did it for 3 weeks. And I'd say for the last 3 weeks, I haven't even done it. What I have done, what it did do for me is make me more aware of what I was eating.
Okay.
Because I was so strict for them sort of 3 weeks.
Yep. And
I was checking everything that I was eating. When I said, right, I'm not doing that again for a little bit, I'd lost a stone, and I've basically, it put me in a position where I would still look and go, oh, this is 12.5 grams. Okay, well, that's not too bad. You know, so it gave me more of an awareness of what I was eating.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think not specifically doing that type of diet. I say, although it made me aware, it made me realize what I was eating that maybe I shouldn't. You know, where I get in and maybe have 4 or 5 digestive biscuits or something like that. So I might have 1 or 2 now. Yeah, not 5.
I want to say 2 things. You know, what you talked about, you've literally picked something from episode 4, I think the last episode before this one, whereby I talked about all-round fitness, and I said one of the key things to achieving all-round fitness is awareness. You just, you know, being aware of what you're doing, what you're putting in your mouth, you know, the fact that maybe, you know, you sit down all day in front of a computer and work, you know, it's just understanding and realizing all of that. And then, you know, and I think that is always the first step to change. You have to be aware. You have to understand where you are. Yeah, when we worked out, it really helped me. I'll tell you that, you know, for sure. And I can just go ahead and do stuff on my own and just keep working out. But what I realized that in the last few weeks, I hit a point where, you know what, I wasn't as motivated to work out. I don't know why. And that's not typically me. I'm like, you know what, you know, I'm a go kind of person. You know what, you know, jumping with my 2 feet and just do what I have to do. But I found that a few weeks ago, you know, I've just not been working. And I'm sure you know, because when I work out, you get notifications.
I do.
You get notifications, right? And you know, the funny thing was, I was speaking to another mate that, just like you, he had worked out with me, and you worked out with me, you helped me. He also did that, and I said to him, hey man, you know, he works out with a personal trainer 3 times a week, and I was actually thinking of, you know what, you know, checking out his personal trainer to see if I could maybe afford it first of all. And then maybe I could do something similar. And he said to me, look, why don't I come over to your house and just work out with you, and you know, see if that helps. And if that doesn't help, maybe, you know, sure, I'll recommend my personal trainer. And you know, the fact that I knew he was coming over to my house 2 weeks ago, I just sort of got motivated to start working out before he came. And then since he's been, I've been working out again. And it just, you know, it's funny how, you know, with health and fitness and being over 40, we could talk about food, we could talk about friendship, we could talk about, you know, working out. But I think that there are just, you know, the challenges that, you know, we have to, you know, try and overcome either alone or with friends, or, you know, just, you know, get help from our friends and, you know, spur us on and just help us, you know, get to that next level. So, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, AO. And like I say, it's challenging. Like I say, you know, obviously me and you talk, and I know that you can sometimes be on the phone until 2, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, with your job. You know, sometimes, you know, I have similar sort of calls if I'm dealing with a team in Asia Pacific. You know, it's a 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock call in the morning. You know, life and what you do for a job sometimes doesn't help. And like I say, that motivation for me is a part of the problem. But yeah, I mean, obviously bouncing off something, like I say, when we did it, I loved it, absolutely loved it. and you can speak to my wife, and she does tell you.
Yeah, she did tell me. She told me.
Loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But mentally, I just struggle. Yeah. And it can be, but bouncing off someone really does help. And And I think one of the things you mentioned to me was, we stopped when we started. I said, look, make sure you drink 2 liters of water a day. And you were like, 2 liters, and it was something you hadn't really picked up on.
Yeah.
And we were sending messages saying, look, I've done 1.8 liters. Where are you at? And you're like, oh, I'm at 1.5, or you're at 2.2, and I'm like, oh, best catch up.
Yeah.
That stuff really does help.
It does.
And similar to the diet that I mentioned I was doing, I didn't just come across this diet. It was another friend of mine who's been doing it, and he's lost like 2.5 stone doing the diet. I mean, he's been significantly more rigid to it than I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, I did 3 weeks now. I'd probably have 3 weeks off. I should probably get back on it actually, but he's been religious at it. He's done it for like 8 weeks, 9 weeks continuously, and to lose 2.5 stone in that time, and he looks really good now. By the way,
wow. No, that's good. Do you know? I sent you a picture earlier today, right? I don't know if you noticed in the picture there was a big I don't know what to call it. It's a bottle of water, like. Yeah. And even though we talked about this thing, I don't know, it's been months now. I still try and go through 2 liters of water every day, and that's because you told me about it. You kind of showed me, encouraged me, and so I've got. I mean, if you go back and look at that picture I sent you maybe an hour ago,
I can see it. I'm looking at it now as we speak.
There's
massive bowl on the right hand side.
I mean, there's a cup of coffee right next to it, but that water, I have to finish that bottle today. So
fantastic. No, that's excellent.
Yeah. So
that's it.
Yeah, this is.
But you know what? Edo,
you go.
Right? Just on that point, right? So obviously, with me doing this diet, I was obviously tracking my weight every day, and it's amazing. I think I did show you. It's amazing. My water intake and my water levels within my body matched the weight dropping off. So if you imagine a chart where the weight is going down. Okay. If you inverted that or flipped it, and obviously you can see the same angle of trajectory going up, that was my water intake. It almost matched. Right. And I find that really interesting based on just water. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure doing the diet and not eating as many carbs and things like that help. But for me, it's that mirror image. It literally is a mirror image of the amount of water intake I had as it went up was the same, but obviously inverted going down for my weight. And it's bizarre.
It is.
And I really think that's one of the keys to sustaining a healthier lifestyle, especially in your 40s, is drinking water. Without question.
Sounds simple. Sounds, really silly and simple.
Yeah. Tell the listeners, how hard is it to drink that 2 liters when you're not used to it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard, isn't it?
It is. It is hard, to start with. I'll be honest with you, right? But I think what I found is that the more I do it, the easier it's become. It's almost become a part of me that when I go out, I have to grab that bottle when when I'm working. And when I work out in the morning, what I found is that I don't drink water when I work out. It's just not, I work out and I don't drink water. And I found that if I can get, some water in while I'm working out as well, it also helps add up to that total, 2 liters a day and
overall
all that stuff.
2 liters,
Exactly. And I don't know if it was you I was talking to, but I've had 2. So one instance where someone said to me, I don't know if it was you, that there's a fitness coach who, if you sign up with him, before he took you on, he'll ask you to go drink water for 2 weeks. Just drink water. Wow. He'll give you, I think, maybe 2 liters, maybe 3, and say, go drink that for 2 weeks, then come back. And then he'll start to train them. And also, I was actually reading today, one of my friends from my secondary school WhatsApp group, he put a comment about he knows a friend who's a doctor who would always prescribe water and rest for a lot of people when they have some kind of ailments or whatever. I mean, he didn't go into detail, but he was like, he knew of a doctor friend that would always prescribe water and rest initially before he gave out medication and all. So, it's amazing that we have water at our disposal. I mean, most places, most countries, you have water at your disposal, and you just have to drink it. So,
yeah.
All right. This has been a great conversation, man. We have to have another one pretty soon. Okay.
Absolutely.
And this has been a very, very good conversation. And I'm gonna obviously hit you up and let you know when the other one's gonna be. And just so you guys know, I think I mentioned already, Gary is a football coach. He's also the president of the football club where my son plays football, and his son plays as well. And Toby told me about the bleep test you guys were doing, and
that's the old school football coming in for you there with the bleep test.
Yeah, and Gary has kind of managed to rope me into helping out with the football club by volunteering to be a referee, and I absolutely love it when I'm reffing with the kids. I mean, I see referees just walking about. I don't do that. I'm running up and down the field trying to get my steps in and all of that stuff. So, I really enjoy. Gary is a great friend. He's a neighbor, and he would definitely be back to be Fortyfied. I sincerely hope this adds value to you and helps you on your journey. I hope this discussion has been helpful to you. I hope that you're able to take some nuggets from what Gary and I talked about, and you're able to apply that to your life and just, help yourself as an over 40, or even maybe you're under 40, help yourself in the fitness journey and, plan some steps. I would love to hear from you. Please head over to www.b45.com, where you can actually record an audio message from me on my website. And you don't need to install any apps or leave your email, just hit record. And lastly, if you found this podcast helpful or informative or interesting, I'd really appreciate if you leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever platform where you get your podcast. This would help the show, and this will help grow the audience and hopefully help more people on the same journey. So until the next episode, stay healthy, get fitter, live life to the absolute fullest, and be fortified.